everybody, or as we in the Hamburg headquarters of Transfermarkt TV say, moin moin to another edition of our international show with Deadline Day in England. Just around the corner, we have a special focus today on British football, and we have a couple of very interesting, very prominent names, and we start with one of the most prominent of all time in British football. Wayne Rooney is heading back to England. He will join Derby County and its coach Philippe Cocu starting in January 2020 when his contract with DC United, the American side, runs out. Rooney, 33 years old, has 208 goals in British Premier League and hopes to start a couple of more when he joins Derby and probably goes up to Premier League. These two will play in the Premier League this season. We're talking about Gabama and Moiskin, the newest acquisitions of Everton. Moiskin joins from Juventus, the 19-year-old on the left side. He is also an Italian international. He joins for 30 million euros. And Jean-Philippe Gabama, he comes in from the German side, Mainz 05. And very promising player from the Ivory Coast, national team player. He brought Mainz 25 million euros in transfer fees. Harry Wilson will join for 1 year as a loan player from Liverpool. He goes out to AFC Bournemouth, becomes a cherry. The loan fee is reported at 2.7 million euros. He played a very good season as a loan player for Derby County last season. 43 games in championship and playoffs, 16 goals and 4 assists to his side. The 22-year-old Welsh national player now becomes a cherry in the Premier League for 1 season. Manchester City has a new acquisition on the right defender spot, Thierry Correia, who is a promising Portuguese international for the U20 team. 20-year-old will get a contract till June 2024. His fee is 3.5 million euros. Let's see if he already plays for the team for Pep Guardiola right away or probably is loaned to a different team. He will leave England for good. Laurent Koscielny, after refusing to travel with his team Arsenal to the US, now becomes a member of his new club, Girondins Bordeaux, the transfer fee being 5 million euros, which is 3 million euros less than he has in a market value. The 33-year-old French international, former international, played 9 years for Arsenal in 357 games, but lately wasn't much of a factor for Arsenal now in France. We move on to a former Premier League team. Fulham FC has acquired on loan a new player, Harry Otter, 29-year-old. He comes in from AFC Bournemouth. Last year he was loaned to Cardiff in the Premier League and now for another year joins Fulham. The Irish international plays central midfield and now plays in the Championship. And another one that is staying in the Championship is this guy, Lucas João. Fun fact, he played his 1 game for Sheffield Wednesday in this season against his new club. And he scored a goal against Reading on the 3-1 victory for Sheffield Wednesday. Now it's time to leave Sheffield for Reading, and the signing fee is 5.4 million euros. Lucas João on a long-term contract, as you see, 4 years permanent deal goes in with Reading. Internationally, we have this Ruben Aguilar, right defender, joins AS Monaco from Montpellier. 8 million euros signing fee for the 26-year-old, which is probably already having in mind that Djibril Sidibe might join FC Everton. So Monaco now has already 1 player at hand on a 5-year contract for Ruben Aguilar. Former Schalke 04 and Werder Bremen player Franco Di Santo has a new club. He was on short term without a contract. Now he's joining Atletico Mineiro. The 30-year-old Argentine former national player becomes member of Atletico Mineiro until December of 2020. His last two teams, Rayo Vallecano and Schalke 04, weren't much pleasure for Franco Di Santo. And much pleasure with FC Sao Paulo, as 40,000 people joined to welcome the Brazilian national team captain Dani Alves, now a member of FC Sao Paulo. The 36-year-old joins from Paris Saint-Germain, and without a signing fee, he gets the jersey with number 10 and is high hopes with FC Sao Paulo for a good season. He stays for at least 2.5 years in his native country, Brazil. The three-time Champions League champion Dani Alves, probably the most notable name in the list of transfers of the week. The most important and most expensive one comes from the Premier League. And we are talking about Harry Maguire joining Manchester United, coming in from Leicester City. Finally, Manchester United was able to match the expectancies from Leicester, and they paid a lot of money for Harry Maguire, making him the most expensive defender in the world. By his transfer, he joins Manchester United for 6 years. And we see the 87 million euros make him the top transfer of the Premier League in our top 10. As you can see right here on number 2, Nicolas Pepe, 80 million that Arsenal paid for Lille. Rodri, 70 million for Manchester City. They paid for Atletico Madrid. And we go down to number 8 from the Bundesliga, Hoffenheim. Joe Linton going to Newcastle United, 44 million. Sebastian Haller. Frankfurt to West Ham, 40 million. And number 10 on the list so far, Raúl Jiménez, joining on regular basis from Benfica to the Wolves, 38 million euros. That's the top 10 transfers of the Premier League so far. Again, we say so far it's the top 10 list. Tottenham might have a word for this list after all. We're talking about probably Philippe Coutinho, who had a telephone contact with Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino coached Philippe Coutinho, the Barca player, in 2012 when Coutinho played for a half season with Espanyol Barcelona. The 27-year-old Brazilian not too happy with his time with Barca. He became La Liga champion after joining from Liverpool in January 2018 for 145 million euros. So maybe there is a place in Tottenham's squad for Philippe Coutinho, and his market value with 90 million euro is about the same as the one of Christian Eriksen, who has 10 million more on his value. But Eriksen might leave Tottenham for Manchester United, as the Red Devils are preparing a last-second transfer. As Sky Sports News reports, the 27-year-old might be a replacement for Ander Herrera, so he might become a Red Devil. And for Tottenham, another task is this guy, Paulo Dybala, 25-year-old central forward for Juventus. He is on the list of Mauricio Pochettino, could leave Juve if Romelu Lukaku becomes a task for Juve. Bayern Munich is keen on another English youngster. This time it's Joe Willock, a 19-year-old player for Arsenal and the junior team of Arsenal. Last season, 12 games in Premier League 2, scored 6 goals and 2 assists. He's a central midfielder, and since Bayern didn't get Marco Roca, the Spanish from Espanyol Barcelona, Joe Willock is probably a task. The 19-year-old may be joining Bayern Munich, as Sky Sports News reports. Wilfried Zaha is another very interesting transfer object in the Premier League. The player with Crystal Palace had 34 games in the Premier League season last season, 10 goals and 10 assists, is now on the list of Everton. and probably Everton outsmarting Arsenal. They are willing to give 108 million euros, which includes the players Tosun and James McCarthy for Crystal Palace's right wing, the 26-year-old player from Ivory Coast, on the list of Everton, as The Sun reports. Mesut Özil, who was world champion with Germany in 2014, is on the list of DC United. The 30-year-old with Arsenal, who Arsenal is willing to let go, has probable meetings with his agent and DC United. The Washington team, as the Washington Post reports, would like to make the 30-year-old his franchise player and team captain for the next season. No further transfers for this guy. Diego Forlan calls it quits. The 40-year-old Uruguayan announced his retirement from professional football. He lately played in India and Hong Kong. The central forward has 122 national caps for his side and became the most valuable player of the World Cup 2010, and also was with Atletico Madrid, the 2010 EuroLeague champion. We say goodbye, Diego Forlan, and all the best in retirement. And that's it for today's show of Transfermarkt TV International. Thanks for joining and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.